I love university environment. It's a great place. It's like, you know, they're paying me. There's like so many smart people, exchange of ideas. It's fantastic. There's a lot of weird ideas in university as well. And this corridor, maybe we can explore it together. I think kind of sums up a little bit of my current beef with university. Let me just show you. So I'm walking down the corridor of this film school. As I said, it's part of my old university. So this is the corridor. Nothing too exciting, but if we just take baby steps forward. So the first thing, something about Islam and others. Something about filming, because clearly it's something to do with film school, and Islam and others. So let's get me in the frame. Let's see. I've got many friends that are Islamic. You know this is going to take a a nasty turn when somebody has to, but it's not. I've got many friends that are Islamic, and the university does everything it can to promote these ideas like, welcome Islam, and this is like Islam and others. And something about the contribution of Muslim life to life in Geneva. So the contribution of Muslim life to life in Geneva. So actually this project sounds like something that I would be interested in. I think it sounds valuable to see how Muslim people have contributed to life here in Geneva, like cultural life presumably. And my problem with university is that I'm a scientist. So scientists ask questions. So in a university nowadays, you can't really ask too many questions. And if you start asking, like, you say, okay, that's fantastic. Let's examine all the different contributions that Islam has brought to, I don't know, to this place. But then if you, as a scientist, you want to see the whole picture, 360 degrees, and you start to say, are there, for example, any negative aspects related to two cultures and two different forms of ideas that maybe mix? And when you mix different ideas, then some of them are more compatible than others. If you speak even quite neutrally about compatibility of ideas, how some ideas related to Islam might not be so compatible with Western ideas, and like, let's investigate that scientifically. Let's see the ones that are, the parts that are really good and the parts that are less compatible. And I think that's an interesting part of the equation. But if you start asking that in university, you're just deemed a fascist. I'm naive, I'm just like a child. I always ask questions, and if you have this like child approach, you can get away with things. If people see that you've got an agenda, and then people don't like that. But if you're genuinely like childlike, like I am, you get away with it more. But still, even me, when I ask questions about the mixing of ideas and different ideas that may or may not be compatible, and I ask, why don't we investigate this, or who's investigating this? And I know nobody is. I clear the room. I clear the room every time. That saddens me that universities become so dogmatic that there's questions that you can't ask. So let's carry on. This is something else. And this is something to do with journée, migration and cinema. And there's somebody who looks a bit darker than the locals here, so it's presumably some kind of migrant. And yeah, I mean, let's turn this round. I mean, not to be repetitive, it's kind of like the same argument here. I don't have a different argument. I know, actually maybe I do. There's a friend of mine that I've got several friends that work for migration. They do migration studies at university. They organise the workshops, and one of the workshops, I thought that could be really interesting. I saw it and I read the workshop. It was being advertised for summer 2022, something like June in Florence, and it was a big to-do, a big hurrah for this thing. And I read the sort of synopsis of the plan of this thing, and it was all to do with how to change people's opinion related to migrants, and all this. It's all to do with like communication strategies on if anybody's got anything negative to say about migration, then how you can change that round, how you can rebut that. Which, I mean, like, if you work in a university, that's not surprising that's what they're doing, that's what people are doing. But again, like, all this strategy on how to change public opinion towards migration, and just a little bit like what you call infanticizing, basically treating people like infants. And if you've got any sort of like qualm, any negative idea, that's because you don't know enough, and the government or these academics need to change your ideas about it. And rather than, I thought it was democratic to listen to everybody's ideas, and of course your ideas need to be somewhat like eloquent and maybe a little bit researched. And that's maybe the sad thing. Then it's the researchers in uni that have all the research, and the research isn't looking into any of the negative stuff, so nobody knows about the negative stuff. So it's just this kind of like vicious circle where if you have any kind of like question that sounds even vaguely negative, then they're like, there's nothing to support that, or something about it, because you haven't done the research. so that, I mean, this whole thing about changing people's public opinion and just like trying to be more and more welcoming everybody, and just, there must be some people that are investigating when it's good to say no to certain people, or good to say no to certain ideas, or ideas that don't mix well, or I don't know, just if you start saying these things in university, as I said, and you can't really ask these things, you can't do research into these aspects. That saddens me. Because, as I said, as a man of science, you should just be allowed to ask anything. You should just be investigating anything, but it's not. It's very, very rigid what you can. But anyway, let's move on to the next poster. The next poster is, frankly, I have no idea what this is. Something about a film, words that I don't really know, something about something between us. Yeah. Again, it's very much trying to I've got nothing, this is clearly trying to spread togetherness and something about the space between us or something like this, and I guess it's nice. It's something about hippie ideas or whatever. I really don't know enough to say whether I like it or not, so let's carry on. Now we've got something a bit abstract here, which I like. It's my favourite thing so far. Something that I thought film school was all about, something like very creative ideas, where it's something is it a tree, is it I don't know, I really don't know what that is, but let's see if I can do this without smashing the camera. But yeah, I really don't know what that is, but it seems kind of funky, and this is really what I thought film school was all about, this kind of like strange creative ideas. But anyway, let's carry on. There's something else here about, let's see if you can see it, New York Film Academy, something about learning and filming. Yeah, seems to make sense. I mean, what you would expect. There's nothing over here. What's this? This is interesting actually. Do you see this? Let's see. I want to hold this properly, like this. This says, working on memoir, which memoir is the final project, and it says Clem and Sven. So this is so interesting because I met Clem and Sven, a nice guy called Sven and a nice girl called Clementine, and so they've booked this room here in this filming place, and they've booked this room for their memoir, which is their final project. And so I was randomly talking to them yesterday. I met them and I said hello and introduced myself. And then they told me what their final film project for university is. And it's something to do with sustainability. And again, so as I said, I'm doing this film school here. And the first day the professor was going around this saying, like, who are you and why are you here? And he's going around, and it's mostly girls, and most of them, like, honestly, there was one girl that said, oh, hi, I'm such and such and I want to do, and he said, why are you here? And she said, oh, because I would like to do something about sustainability. filming, something like a project about sustainability. I was like, all right, sounds pretty, okay, whatever. And then another girl, she was like, oh yeah, I'm such and such. And he was like, oh, why are you here? And she said, oh, I've got ideas about discrimination. I would like to do like a film project about discrimination. And I was thinking in my head, I was like, these people are like 21, 22 years old. If any 21 or 22 year olds, like, you know, when I was like over 10 years ago, when I was like, I don't think people wanted to do such heavy subjects that are like void of fun. Okay, it's in a university and maybe, anyway, so then the guy came to me and he said, well, who are you and why are you here? And I said who I was, and I said, I want to do fiction. And he said, oh, nice, what kind of fiction? I said, violence and mafia. And everybody started laughing in the class. And the guy said, like, the guy was like, we have a long-standing tradition of mafia movies, and so like, hopefully you can contribute to that. And I was like, yeah, hopefully I can. And the weird thing was that after film school, some of the girls came to me, and like we went for beers, and one of the girls said to me like, oh, I also like you know, violence and mafia and fiction. And so I don't know if the girls, like, they felt as if they had to say that, but anyway, yeah, it's like, I don't know. But so just simply to say that here, Clemens Venn, they're also doing a project, their final film project, and it's about sustainability. I don't know, I just like, that's also something in uni, especially Swiss unis. I can't really speak for other unis, but it's really this religion of sustainability. And I mean, anytime I say, okay, sustainability is a problem, but there's also other problems, again, you clear the room, you can't say that. It's just, yeah, it's not cool. Like famine and war, these are things we should forget about, basically. It's like all about sustainability. It's just really, all the projects, everything, it's just all sustainability. Yeah, it's just, and it's like really drummed into their heads, and obviously when they have to pick a final project, it's, they kind of know what to do. They're thinking, okay, I'll do sustainability, everybody's gonna appreciate that, gonna like that. And so yeah, Sven and Clem are here working like every single day for the next apparently 10 days, from morning to evening, on their final film project on sustainability. Okay, what else here? Something about frontiers. It's a nice picture. Frontiers and all. I don't know if I think it's genre. Yeah, I don't think it's genders. I think it's all genre. Yeah. Well, I think that's all. It was just a little taste of the film school corridor here, and it was nice to tie it into this kind of direction that unis are going in heavily. And let's see if I can do this without smashing the camera. Yeah, this direction that unis are going in heavily, and yeah, I hope you appreciated that. And yeah, this, as I said, this is these are ideas that are always like floating about university, and yeah, I'm just like, I'm a little bit surprised that they're also so present in film school, where I thought it would be a space a little bit more for pure creativity, meaning just like magicians and war and soldiers, and I don't know, something about mafia and executions, and yeah, I don't know, but maybe these ideas are all just like a little bit like Clockwork Orange. It's in my head, and maybe people don't appreciate that stuff anymore. But I think, yeah, it's just like the girls, they came to me and they were like saying, oh yeah, we like that as well. So maybe people are just like so drummed into their heads of what they should like and what they should say in public and public speaking. Yeah, I don't know. I just hope that there is space for like all the kind of the executions and the mafia and the wizards and the soldiers. That just seems like the real fun stuff. And watching some final project about, I guess you could put creativity even into like some sustainability project for sure, or even something to do with like, I don't know, promoting, I don't know, Islamic culture in Geneva or something, but it sounded a bit dry to me. And yeah, anyway, I wish you a lovely evening, and it was nice to have you here, giving me a little bit of company in this film school. I think I'll come back here in the evening. It's like really nice lighting. Hopefully I don't seem like I'm dead. Yeah, it seems decent enough lighting. So yeah, you have yourself a lovely evening and take care of yourself. I'll see you soon.